Hi, I'm Chuck.
And Deb.
And welcome to Biker Life Radio. We're so truly grateful and thankful that you joined us today. We've got a fantastic show lined up just for you.
Biker Life Radio is for those who ride and those who are inspired to ride. We are here to reveal the truth behind the motorcycle mystique and bring real-life stories of the biker lifestyle.
Okay, well, we're just grateful and thankful for everybody joining us today. We're just shooting from the hip today, aren't we, Deb?
We are, absolutely.
And so, you know, we traded our motorcycles in. We sold our motorcycles. We no longer have motorcycles. We're no longer going to be motorcyclists. And so, really, that's all there is to say. We wish everybody well and take care.
See you soon.
Just kidding. That ain't happening.
Nope, that
Matter of fact, I'm in the mood for getting a new motorcycle.
I know. You've been talking about it for a little while.
I'm holding off. I'm trying to, have some, what do you call it?
Self-discipline?
Yeah, I guess if you want to use those
restraint
kind of terms.
I don't know what you want to call it. So.
Yeah, some self-restraint. That's good. I like that.
Yeah. Restraint, self-restraint. I don't know about that.
Yeah, that sounds much better. So we hope everybody's doing well out there in COVIDville.
Yeah, and we got out for a ride. That was super fun. We had a great time. And again, you keep leading us on some awesome rides. I don't know if you've got a plan behind it or if you just kind of go and see where we end up. And it's been a great time. We just had a great ride.
What's your idea of an awesome ride?
Oh.
Why do you think the last ride was awesome?
Well, for me, the ride, there's no specific destination because it's like, I don't know, it was just a ride to ride. There were no necessarily kickstands down at any point, but there was no place to get to. And the beautiful thing, even though there was a little bit of weaving in and out of traffic, there wasn't a ton of traffic that we had to worry about. So, we would go in and out of town from the very eastern edge of the area in which we live. And so there was a little bit of traffic, but nothing horrendous, and we weren't trying to get to a destination in a quick way or, ride through. So it was just a very laid-back, easy-going. We discovered a couple of new roads that had just recently been added in the area, and I thought it was a good ride. I just enjoyed it. So a couple of hours in the sunshine, nothing to worry about, no clouds of rain coming down or anything. I thought it was a great ride, so thanks.
Well, there was something to worry about.
And
there was a fire.
Where?
It was out east. You didn't see it, that big smoke?
No.
You didn't see that the whole time?
No.
That's actually the reason that I took the turns that I took.
Really? So
because if we would have went further out east, we would have got it all messed up in that smoke, and I would have got all, teary-eyed and crybaby, having to breathe in all that smoke.
You would have had problems breathing. So
then I went south.
I did not.
And some of those roads we didn't just discover. We've been on those before. But they're new roads that a lot of people aren't on right now.
Right.
And so they're really good for riding, I thought.
Yeah, I think so too.
And we did discover that one small section right off of Fruitville, that turn that I made, and then it merges into the other new road. Lakewood Ranch Road, I think, is that one.
Yeah, Lakewood Ranch Boulevard now connects all the way down. So I'm totally...
Well, were you present on the ride, Deb? There's no way that you could have missed it. It was like a volcano erupting out east.
I'm just enjoying the ride. I'm watching the road. Because I wasn't in lead position, I guess I wasn't looking that far down. I just had faith and trust that you were taking us on an amazing ride.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I didn't have to think about where we were headed. I just rode. And that's sometimes the good thing about not being the leader of the ride is I didn't. But I know
you could space out and back.
Yes. Well, no, you can't. When spacing out as a passenger is a completely different world than spacing out as a rider, because you can't. There's no spacing out as a rider.
Well, I'll be honest. I space out every once in a while, especially on long rides, and the road's straight, and there's not a lot of traffic.
And
traffic, you gotta, it's a little bit more difficult to space out, I think.
Yeah, you've got to be on your game. And I think even out east, there were a couple of places where there were road construction going on. But I know that there have been a lot of very controlled burns out east of us. And so I believe that may have been what was going on. I don't know for sure, but I just know as I've traveled out there for other things, and I've seen all of this burned land, and I don't like it. It just doesn't feel right. It doesn't look good.
Sorry.
It doesn't. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it was very obvious. It was blowing right over 64, and it was actually blowing north, which was unusual. And it looked like there was a low pressure zone in, and because it wasn't going really high up into the sky. I don't know anything about what I'm talking about, but
Boy, you
I'm
sound
sure.
like a weatherman.
No,
The low trough was keeping the air dense
Well, there
down
you go.
below.
You sound like the weather woman,
I don't
Mr.
know.
Low Trough.
Yeah, I just heard them say that before.
So, hey, it was a great ride. I enjoyed it, and I didn't know where I was going to go. I did know that, I wanted to go on because I was fairly certain we were on the first road that we took off of State Road 70 when we turned left. Was that what was that road?
I don't know. That was a new road for me. I don't think I've been on that one before.
Okay. I think we have been on it before, but I mean, it's incredible to see all the building, and you'd be amazed. I mean, I don't know if you would be amazed, but I was amazed to see all the new developments that I didn't even know were out there.
Were really happening. Correct.
I mean, it's oftentimes, you go for a ride, you got to experience some new things. A lot of times people like to ride the same ride over and over again, and I get that, but I like to do different things. I like to do different rides, and at the same time, I like to do the same ride. Because I do have some favorites.
You're speaking in circles now. So, do you like to do the same old rides, or do you
I
like to do
both,
new rides?
but I think what I'm saying here is I think we got to mix them up every once in a while.
Yeah.
Do something a little bit different. Check out things we never seen before. I mean, that's what to me it's all about anyway.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the same ride over and over again. Although I know just certain riding groups ride similarly all the time, and they ride the same. They go to the Strawberry Festival every year. They go to this. Bike Week or Biketoberfest or whatever. And, so many times it's the same route. But I like to do different things. I like to see different spots and different roads and different places because it's all different terrain up here, and I love that.
Well, that's all that we care about, Deb, is that you love that.
I know. You're so good about that.
Oh yes, I am. So, Deb, you had an very interesting weekend as well. Because what did Rossiters do?
Yeah, Rossiters, they really pulled it out, man. Saturday was scheduled to be the International Female Ride Day. And what Rossiters did in honor of the ladies is they filled an entire class of female riders, ladies, and they gave that to them at no charge. So kudos and hats off to Rossiters for that. So it was really my first time ever doing a class of all lady riders. So it was great. It was different. I've usually got a mixture of men and women, and I think every class I've taught for the most part has women in it. And so it was a very different dynamic to have a group of all women, and I'm just going to leave it at that.
Okay, well, why don't you just leave it at that?
Okay.
Why would you just leave it at that?
Because, women, we're interesting beings, and we are, everyone's going to say state the obvious, we're uniquely different than men. And I think the dynamic of men and women together changes the way a group of both of us act. And when you've got a group of all one, you tend to behave differently. And so, women are very emotional beings for the most part. I'll kind of take myself out of that a little bit.
Because, you're not emotional.
Well, there are times that I am, but, I'm not. I don't know. I don't know. It's just interesting. That's why I didn't want to go here. Because
well, no, I don't want to push you on anything. I'm just saying, I hear what you're saying. It sounds like what you learned because you hadn't had a class.
Correct.
With all lady riders, and you did. And you've had classes where you've had mix. And it seems like the ladies actually may perform better. I don't know. I don't want to put words in your mouth. I'll put something else. But
the interesting part of
salt
that.
or something.
Yeah, I know. So before, the interesting part of all of that was oftentimes there are riders in the class that have some experience and or road experience more so than that. And so, what I was mentioning, I think, to you is that everybody works to reach that better rider level, and it's just it's a non-conscious effort that when you're riding around or you're riding with other riders that have perform at a better level than you, it's just natural to want to and work toward getting better on that level. And many of these riders in the women's course were not riders before, and so what I think I saw was the emotional struggle of everyone. All of the women in the group wanted each other to do really well. And hats off to all of the ladies that were in class because, that takes a lot. Most people are in that class. All they care about is themselves getting their endorsement and they're out the door and they don't care really what happens with the other group. But what I watched with these lady riders is they really bonded and gelled very quickly in the class the very first evening. And so they really were caring and concerned about one another, not whether or not they were injured, but just that they did their absolute best But I think what I found in that group of women is that, the one person that I felt had the most riding exposure and experience on her own motorcycle before coming to the class, just doing a lot of practice, and has a husband that is a very active rider, she would be the one that I would expect people to perform to, but there was a confidence challenge there. And, she would beat herself up. And I talk so much in my classes about mindset and how motorcycling is more than just the physical, get on the motorcycle and ride it, and the skills it takes to do that, which are a ton. We talk about that oftentimes as there are so many moving parts of riding a motorcycle, between your hands and your feet and this, that, and then the motorcycle on top of that is this machine that you're relying on taking you from point A to point B, and then you've got all this mindset stuff. And so I watched a lot of that mindset stuff happening this weekend, and it just really, I looked at it in a whole different perspective because it was this group of ladies and they were all dealing with mindset issues in a little bit of a different way. Some of it was confidence. Some of it is, I just don't know that I'm ready. I try and explain that the motorcycling is very physical, and it seemed as though, although it wasn't the hottest day I've ever taught and it was a warm weekend, it really, that weather, and it was extremely fatiguing for the ladies, which I don't normally see that in a different mixed group. And so, there were a couple of things for me as the rider coach that I observed and took a look at, and, just had to kind of do some self-evaluating. What could I do differently? Because I'm always thinking about that. What can I do next class to do better? I just want to be the best coach that I can and bring to my class the best learning opportunity and experience possible.
Well, what about, what type of things do you say that when you're talking about their mindset to them? I mean, what are you conveying to these folks?
Well, ourselves, and this is a human nature thing, men or women, so it goes across the board, but we tend to be our hardest critics. And so when you're in an environment of learning and you're given instructions and then you're shown how it's designed to be ridden, and then you get on the motorcycle, our human nature instinct is that I'm going to get on there and I'm going to do it just like I just saw the rider coach doing it. And guess what? Rider coaches have been doing that same exercise and riding that same thing over and over again until we can almost ride it with our eyes closed, which we won't do. But we're supposed to, from a standard, to show them the perfect way to ride that. But the mindset of a new rider is that I'm going to get out there and I'm going to do it just like I just watched my rider coach do it. And that's not really the reality of it all. And then they start to beat themselves up, and I watch their mouths go, cussing themselves out, talking bad to themselves. And that's where the mind game comes in, is because you don't have to have 100% confidence the entire time, but you have to know that I don't expect perfection the first go around. Why in the world would you expect perfection from yourself when you're learning something brand new? So a lot of it is that conversation of, not letting yourself beat yourself up.
So you're saying, so how do you put that? How do you present that to them?
So I just try and take the, actually, you can't give all my class secrets away now.
It's not a secret. I'm trying to pull something out. I've got a destination I'm going here. Okay. You just need to answer my questions.
I pull it out because I use the analogy of a ninja. And that's what works for me, because oftentimes when we have either seen or know of any kind of a ninja or a martial arts expert, they come with a lot of skill and a lot of expertise. And so, but they didn't start that way. They had to work hard and practice to get to that level of being that expert in their field. And that's the exact same thing with a motorcycle. I'm out there teaching often, so guess what? I'm riding those same things often. They're getting out there for the first time, and don't expect that you've got to be perfect. Let yourself be okay to allow yourself the opportunity to figure it out, to learn it, and then to get better at it as you go. It's just practice, and that's what I oftentimes talk about.
So what does that have to do with the ninja?
Well, it's about the ninja mindset.
I mean, how do you use it? I mean, I got what you said.
I carry
it's about the ninja mindset.
I carry a ninja in my pocket as a constant reminder, because are you beating yourself up for not being the expert? That's how I tie that together out there when they're riding on the range. And oftentimes, I mean, the minute I see them do something they are not wanting to do, or they don't want the motorcycle to do, let's say they're doing two of the U-turns and they run it wide. I see their mouths just start to move, and they're talking out loud to themselves, and so their self-talk is not desirable. It's like, oh, rather than saying, next time if I turn my head, I might be able to make that tighter. I know what's happening in their mind as they're going, you just didn't do it right. What's wrong with you? And then they put their foot down in order to stop the motorcycle from tipping over. And then you put your foot down. And what in the world are you doing about that? I mean, I see it. I watch.
So what do you say when that happens?
So then it's a self-reflection. What worked out and what didn't. Oh, that was horrible.
Oh, you don't pull out the little ninja out of your pocket?
Sometimes I do pull the ninja out of my pocket.
And what do you do with the little ninja when you pull it
And I go,
out?
Hey, are you thinking that you're a ninja out there? And I'm like, yeah. So then the
ninja is to say, I'm not going to be perfect right out the gate?
Correct. And I'm going to continue to work on getting better, and I'm not going to let my mind overcome my ability to get better at this.
Okay. So there's nothing specific that while you're in your class that you specifically say, let's talk about mindset?
Nothing more than what I've just shared with you about my ninja.
So you pull out the ninja. And you have this conversation about they pick their
own ninja. It's just part of an exercise. Again, I'm not going to give it. And then I kind of just relate back to what the ninja represents and why I use the ninja for that particular exercise.
Okay. It's very interesting. Thanks for sharing that.
Oh, yeah! Did we get to your destination?
No, because I didn't get the answers that I was looking for, so apparently I'm not able to help you.
Did I need your help?
Maybe.
Okay.
If there was, because it was sounding like to me that that mindset issues were not only in this class but the rest of the classes, which is just it's natural. It's just natural. I'm going to have issues.
You are an issue. What are you talking about?
But I just wondered that if maybe because you brought up mindset, that it was so much in their mindset that it made them mess up. That's all.
No, because I usually talk about it on a Thursday evening, and then we get to the range on Saturday morning. So I don't know. I would think that there would be more of a disconnect than anything at that point. But that's
so you basically allow people to understand that they're not going to be perfect getting right out the gate.
Correct. And not even if you've been a rider forever, the skills and things that you're learning in the class may be extremely different than what you've been self-taught or taught by a friend on the bike or been lessons on the road. So just realize that that's a very different structure, and the course is designed to really take someone with no riding experience and give them that step-by-step foundation to now become a rider.
All right. Well, I think that's about all I have for you, Deb.
Okay. Sounds great.
So let's wrap up the show.
All right. I think that's a great place to call it.
And before we wrap up the show, we'd like to hear from our listeners. If there's certain things that you'd like to hear on this show, we'd like to hear from you. So please let us know. We really appreciate you being here and listening.
Absolutely. So be sure to visit us on Biker Life Radio and Chuck-n-Deb.com. You can reach all of our episodes. When you get out there to an episode that you love, please be sure to share, like, and subscribe so that you do not miss an episode. And send us a note on our website as well. We'd love to hear if there are topics that you are interested in learning. If there are certain people that we can reach out to and connect to get the information that you're looking for, please let us know.
All right, everybody, ride hard and ride free. Talk to you next week.
See you soon.